Hi, this is Kathy Brandon with www.kathybrandonspeaks.com. This morning we're going to have our fourth video series featuring Dr. Michael Harris, who is a hypnotherapist, a Dallas hypnotherapist. Hi, Michael. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Really busy week. We're going to have some fun stuff go on this week. I'm excited to talk to you this morning. How was your weekend? How are the holidays going for you? How was November? I know you had a can drive and you had quite a bit go on in November. So recap us real quick. How did the can drive go?
November was huge. I got over 400 cans for the John Thomas Food Pantry, and they looked a little surprised when I showed up. Even though I told them that I do this every year, they don't seem to remember who I am. So it's okay. I just show up and drop off the cans, and they say thank you. I did a total of 67 hypnosis sessions in 30 days. So
Wow, that's
that's
huge.
on that's on top of my normal schedule. So I've been a little busy. So in answer to your question, I really haven't gone Christmas shopping yet, but I got the trees up, and I got my daughter's stuff already, but I haven't done the rest of my shopping yet.
Right, right. I understand that.
So one of the things that you had talked about a couple of options about what we were going to talk about today, and it just seems like the holiday season would be the most appropriate time to talk about behavioral changes and something that we may or may not have talked about before, but it also goes into, because pretty soon we're going to be talking about the golf, is about managing your emotional state. And I can't think of anything that is more important during the holiday season than managing your emotions, because there's lots of people and lots of personalities, and you have people that, you know, they're fully functional adults, and then they go to their parents' house for Christmas, and everyone reverts back to the same old sibling rivalries that they had when they were 5 years old. So it might be an interesting way of talking about, you know, it's like, hey, by the way, did you know you grew up and your sister grew up and your brother that used to hold you down and you know, give you noogies like this, like, that's all gone now. You know, maybe it's a good time to let go of that.
You know what, Michael, honestly, I think you're absolutely correct. One of the things I really like about hypnotherapy, and I didn't know this until I experienced it and saw the results in other people, was, you know, hypnotherapy does allow you to change your behavior and your reactions to situations. And it doesn't mean that you go through this whole, like, okay, let me take you into every nuance of your childhood drama. It's not about that.
Yeah, I was looking for my pocket watch, you know, it's like, yeah, we
Right.
don't do that.
No, and it really has evolved. You know, it's a conversation, but I don't want to go into that. I think that's a juicy, juicy, juicy topic. I do want to bring
Mhm.
up, I want to take maybe a couple of seconds before we go into that, to talk about, I want you to tell me about one of your lap band clients. I'm very fascinated about the results of that. Can you maybe take 2 minutes
Okay.
and give me somebody's results, like what's going on with them? Inspire me. I want to pray for them and, you know, kind of champion that result.
Okay. Well, how about two clients in 2 minutes? I had one guy that I did HypnoBand with, and he called me up and he called me up the following week and said, "My wife absolutely told me to call you because I've lost 7 pounds in 7 days."
Nice.
And it's like, well, you know, let's keep an eye on that. The amount of weight loss that we're looking for that would be considered safe or ecologically sound would be somewhere between 1 and 3 pounds per week. So 7 pounds might be a little bit excessive, um, but it's not unusual during the first couple of weeks of doing the HypnoBand is that your body will switch gears and it will start losing weight. Your colon, without getting too detailed, it will also clean out.
Mm-hmm.
So a significant amount of weight loss is not unheard of. And without being too terribly graphic, I had a friend of mine who was she was a colon therapist, you know, where they actually have the machine that they put people on.
Yeah.
And she had a client that came in and they did a process, and this person was very, very, very overweight. And in a 1 hour period, this person dropped somewhere between 40 and 50 pounds of the material that was in his colon.
That seems
So,
excessive. Does that seem like
yeah,
a lot to you? To me, that's just like, oh my God.
it's a tremendous amount of weight. It's a tremendous amount of fecal material.
Right.
So I don't want to, I don't get lost in the wrong part of the story. But what I'm saying is that in the interim, one of the things that can happen is that it is possible for people to lose a significant amount of weight in a short period of time, and then after a week or so, that it should taper down to 1 to 3 pounds per week until they reach their weight goal. I had another lady, and this, you're a girl. This will probably translate a whole lot better to than any of the boys that are watching this. I had a client came in, and in 3 weeks she lost 3 dress sizes.
Now, is that unusual? Like, give me a percentage of the
It,
clients who see that kind of thing, you know?
well,
Because I've heard that a lot with the HypnoBand, actually. I've
yeah.
had some really
If you think,
incredible results that,
sure,
yeah,
okay. Well, if you think about the way that dresses are sized and stuff like that, when you're talking about when somebody loses 10 pounds,
right.
they're going to lose a dress size. But some people, um, if they lost 5 pounds, they would lose a dress size. So I don't really know how the dress manufacturers and stuff do whatever it is that they do.
Hmm.
But you're talking about a 3 week period. She lost about 1 to 5 pounds, somewhere between 1 and 5 pounds per week for a period of about 3 weeks. And
Which is healthy
she
weight.
might have been right on. Yeah, so she dropped some dress sizes, so she was very, very encouraged
Right.
about her progress, and it has since slowed down. And it doesn't slow down and stop; it's continuous. But if you're talking about somebody who wants to lose 100 pounds,
Hmm.
okay?
Hmm.
If, so if we're talking about, let's say that on average, we'll go, keep saying between 1 and 3. So let's take an average of 2 pounds,
Right.
okay? So if they lose 2 pounds a week, it's going to take them a year to lose that 100 pounds.
Right.
And, and, and for a lot of people, that may not seem quick enough, but it's safe, it's ecological, it's congruent, and truly, the slower you lose weight, the more apt it is to stay off, because it gives your body an opportunity to adapt. Now, obviously, the people that are coming in that are 50, 100, 150 pounds overweight, they want to get it off 2 weeks ago, last Thursday.
You bet.
But
Right.
it's going to take some time.
Hmm.
And that's why I encourage that they not only have the HypnoBand, the hypnotic surgery itself, but they also participate in the group and the forum, and ask questions and share recipes and chat and connect with other people that are going through the same process that they are.
Right.
Was that my 2 minutes?
That was. That was. No, I
Yeah.
think those are some
Okay.
amazing results. I like the fact that you talked about how, when it starts, people can have some amazing weight loss. But, the real healthy weight loss is really over time. If you want to lose 100 pounds, you know, get into a community, get into a lifestyle. And so I really like the fact that you work with the HypnoBand surgery, the hypnotic surgery, but you also have a community and an environment for people to walk into so that
Hmm.
they don't lose that, right? They have that camaraderie. They have, if you have an environment around you that supports a new lifestyle, new habits, new behaviors, new reactions, new things to do, then it is a proven scientific fact that the change in behavior it has a higher success rate. And so I'm thrilled that you're putting both of those together. You know, I don't know all HypnoBand therapists who really do that, right?
A
Um,
lot of them, they just do the hypnosis and then they turn you loose and that's it.
yeah. And so I think the community element that you are bringing to the table for this work is really, really huge. I think you're going to really influence all the other HypnoBand therapists out there, or I hope you do.
I hope
Let me put
so.
it that way. I hope so.
Hmm.
And if not, anybody who's had HypnoBand therapy, you know, don't walk but run to Michael, right? Because he has that community that'll sustain you. Um,
Well, even if they've had the surgery somewhere else, there's no reason why they can't join the community, and it's cheap.
yeah,
It's cheap to belong.
yeah,
The reason that I wanted to kind of go down this path is when you're talking about emotional state management, and you're talking, what we're really talking about is identity, okay? And that there are a lot of people out there that when they have been overweight or over fat for a long period of time, you're talking about somebody who has identified that they've identified as a fat person. You know,
hmm
it's not a, you know, I'm a person and I have some body fat, or I've got some weight that I need to get rid of. That they turn it into an identity statement, and that's where the actual work begins, in my opinion, because when you start changing their behaviors and their values that support that new identity, that's when things really get interesting. And the reason that I brought up the holidays and the Christmas thing is that generally the last people on Earth that are going to see a change, recognize a change, or accept that you have made this major change in your life is generally your family.
right.
And you know, and that's not 100% true. There's a ton of families out there that are really supportive and they've got your back. But you know, I have people in my office every single day, and I would say that 85–90% of all of their problems, or all of their behavioral issues, all of their esteem problems come directly from their nuclear family, and the messages, whether they're verbal or nonverbal, uh, help people identify and create who they are and who they're becoming. And one of the most typical is that we have this interesting dichotomy, particularly during the holidays. It's like, here, Kathy, have a piece of pie. You know, try this, try that. Oh, I made this special. Here, try this. And then and you know, so that's one backhand slam, and then comes the other one, you know, that you take a bite of it, and then if you go to take another bite of it, they go, "Do you really need to eat that?" And it's like that they can't help themselves because they've got this model of who you are, and they may not have noticed that you grew up and went to law school, or now now you're a world famous neurosurgeon. You know, you're just Bob, who was the third son in a family of 8. So, it's
Right.
like,
Now,
so
here's
when you're
something that,
talking about emotional state management, one of the things that I wanted people to take away from is perhaps what they're looking for in terms of interacting with their family, or perhaps what they're looking for when it comes to accepting a change within themselves. Maybe they're trying to take too big of a jump. Okay? Have you ever been, for example, have you ever been angry, Kathy?
oh, of course, of course.
Okay. Have you noticed that it's kind of hard to go from angry to dancing naked in the yard with rainbows and unicorns, like all in one step?
Right, right,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So sometimes the emotional change or the state change that they're looking for is actually it's too big of a step, and they need to like step it out, and going from like very, very angry to mildly annoyed. Okay. From mildly annoyed to neutral. You know, it's like, how do you feel about a paper cup? You know, neutral. Okay, and then from neutral you might go to pleased.
Right. Right.
Okay, and then from pleased you go over to here to dancing naked with the rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
Okay, but you had to make that transition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that goes into, we'll talk more about that when we start talking about sports and sports performance, sports enhancement, because emotional state management is very, very relevant there. But
Yep.
also in terms of the HypnoBand and behavioral changes, is sometimes the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So we take like different steps. So one of the things that I wanted the people to take away from this thing is that maybe they need to sit down and think about what 3 or 4 or 5 step emotions that would get them from this point to this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand the concept. Let's take it into real world. I'm going to give you a real world scenario, and I want you to walk through it, okay? I am like a mini me of my mother. This is very personal. My mom is probably one of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life. Like, she is brilliant where I'm weak, and I'm brilliant where she's weak. Given that kind of beautiful relationship, it's been weird for us. You know, now it's all beautiful love and light, dancing naked in the front yard with unicorns, right? But as we grew, here's what I found. I found that I had an interpretation of who she was, what she was about. Every time she opened her mouth, I heard her in this picture of what I thought it would mean, what I thought she meant, who I thought she was, right? Blah, blah, blah. In the same token, right? She had her perception of me, and every time I would say something, she would hear it in her perception of me. So we had like this total dance that we did, right, of misperception about each other, because obviously, you know, my perception was inaccurate, very judgmental around her, vice versa. What we had to do over the years, and I didn't have you in my life way back when this occurred, what we had to do was we had to find a way, because we used to anger each other all the time and irritate each other, right? Like, it was beyond anger. Like, we resented each other for years. And then, oh, you know what? I'm stepping through your process. Listen to this. We were angry with each other for years. And then we kind of tolerated each other, right? Because we knew we loved each other and we kind of saw ourselves. And then I can't think of how to describe the next one. It was pretty okay. You know, we started being friends. Everything
like
now.
Neutral?
Yeah, we were kind of neutral, and it's funny, Michael. It's so funny. Here I go. Walk through your process. Now, when my mom is my mom in the way, like, I used to hate different things about her. Now when she shows up and she's just my mom in that way, I get so tickled. I don't get irritated. I actually get tickled because I think it's cute. I mean, not that, you know, everything, and I'm sure I still kind of irritate her on occasion, blah, 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 but I've changed my perception of her to where instead of judging the different things and misperceiving what she means by things, I just let it land, right? And I don't add judgment to it. And by not adding all that judgment and misperception, I find it humorous. I find it cute. I find it hilarious. When it irritates other people, I find that an even bigger crack up, right? Because I know my process, right? I'm just like, oh, yeah. You're going to find this hilarious later. And so let's talk about that a little bit. We're going into the holidays, and even though I have that with my mom, you know, I don't have that beauty with everybody in my whole universe. So let's talk about it. I've got people in my life right now, and I'm not going to go into that detail, protect the innocent, that I probably have misperceptions over, right? They'll say something to me, and it lands not good with me. And I respond, and I'm not like this walk around angry person. I'm a little, you know, I'm a little more confusing than that, right? I'll smile when I'm mad. And so
I'm kind of keeping an eye on the time.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
got about I've got about 4 or 5 minutes, but I wanted to answer your question.
Hmm.
And there's a couple things that you have said that I really wanted to accentuate. Number one is I think that 4 or 5 step process is absolutely the best way to do it. And telling a personal story on myself is I've actually gone through that process with my parents, and I've also gone through that process with my adult children. And
Oh, yeah.
there comes a time where you have to say to yourself, okay, everything that I think I know about this person is fully inaccurate.
Right.
Okay, so one of the conversations that I had with my parents at one time is I said to them, I'm very interested in getting to know you because, quite frankly, right now, the way that I feel about it, if you weren't my relatives and you lived next door to me, I'd probably never talk to you. So
Right.
it was. So since I was the one who was interested in having the relationship, I was the one that had the requirement that I needed to become curious about what they're doing now versus what it was that I thought that they were doing back there in the past. Conversely, when I was talking to my adult children, and this is your mom's side of the story, is
Right.
that there comes a time in every parent's life where they need to begin to interact with their children as if they were functional adults. Because the way that most parents communicate to their adult children is they still talk to them as if they were complete freaking morons, and you got somebody who's running a global banking system, and his mom and the guy's mom is still calling him up, and asking him if he remembered to change the oil in his car, and it's like, what? So choosing choosing to become curious and choosing a different relationship is one of the choices that we have. The other thing that you said was extremely important, and I think that should be our last point in the takeaway for the day, is that when people push your buttons, okay, rather than becoming angry about it, I think that you should be happy. I think that you should be surprised and go, oh, I thought I disconnected that. Thank you very much for showing me that this button is still connected in this context over here, and now that you've shown me, I can disconnect this button, and some well-intentioned person won't push this button at a very inappropriate time and cause a blow up or an upset or some type of an internal emotional reaction. And your family are the ones that are absolutely the best at ferreting out all those little push buttons that you have, and that you should be really grateful that they are able to do that. The other person that is absolutely a pro at finding buttons that you thought were disconnected would be your spousal unit. Your
Right.
your other has the ability to like reach in there and go wah on there, and you like and you don't know what to do, and you really should be saying thank you. Say thank you for pointing that out. I'll go out now. Okay, now that I know about it, it's my responsibility to go disconnect that button. Or why don't you hook up a button, hook that button up to something else, so when they push that button right there that used to cause you to be angry or scared or hateful or go stand in a corner like a 2-year-old and pout, now it makes you laugh. Now it makes you more creative, or now it makes you infinitely more empathetic to other people who have as of yet chosen to evolve.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
that and since it's our neurology, we have full permission to modify our neurology so that we can react any way that we want. And the last thing I wanted to say is when we start talking about playing golf, I can show you how to hook up your neurology where when you just go and take a breath. Boom, you go into competition mode.
Oh, no.
And
No.
oh yeah, and all of your resources are available.
Yeah.
If you ever watch two boxers, okay, you ever seen boxing match?
Yes.
And these guys are standing up, they're nose to nose to nose, and I've heard people go, well, that would make me really uncomfortable. Actually, these guys are so deeply entranced that they probably don't see the other person in the first place.
Right.
They're just a target.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. I
Okay.
understand that. Okay, so our takeaways from today. Let's go ahead and give it. Michael gave the 5-step process to go from angry to delighted. So review that. Second thing, Michael, that I heard you say is, there is a possibility that our perception is 100% wrong about the people that anger us the most. And so we probably need to take a look at that first. Because the odds are that even if somebody walks around every day trying to irritate you, that's still probably not their problem, right? Our response is our neurology, if I heard you correctly, is our responsibility to change, modify, mold. And then the third thing is next week, Michael's going to talk to us about golf. I'm so excited.
I love cow pasture pool.
Do what?
I said I love cow pasture pool.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so the third thing I want to leave you with, because it's the underlying message that Michael has put into every one of these videos, and you're going to hear it in the 5 and 6 as well. This is number 4, is you can modify your reaction, your behavior, and your life. You are in 100% control of exactly what's going on for you in any given moment. And Michael Harris, Dr. Michael Harris, has made it his life to teach people how to take that control without being this freaky little control freak. So reach out to Michael. Michael, tell us how to collaborate with you. Give us all your goods, and then we're going to close shop for today.
Okay. They can get a hold of me for the HypnoBand at HypnoBandTexas.com. You can always get a hold of me at drmichaelharris.com and just click on either one of those websites. You click on the email link, it goes to the same place, but I'll give it to you anyway. It's drm at drmichaelharris.com, and my direct phone number is 214-789-7490, and if I'm up and I'm available, I will answer the phone.
Nice, nice. Everybody that we've interviewed is available if you call them. That is one of the underlying themes with everybody that I work with, is we are available to you. And thank you so much, Michael. I look forward to number 5, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Talk to you next week.